Greetings, Patrick here, with a new title to try out for you guys. This came from our good friend Jamie Hart, so let's see if it works. So welcome to BoobTube Retro Jam. And this is where I talk about television. As we saw for the first episode, we did a Columbo adventure, a Columbo mystery. Like I said, we're not doing any one series all from top to bottom. We're just whatever we feel like talking about. That's what we're going to do. And so for this week, we decided we'd take a look at the first episode of the first season of Burn Notice. So Burn Notice was a cool show. It came out on USA Network in 2007. It ran for 7 years. It starred Jeffrey Donovan as Michael Westen, Gabriel Anwar as Fiona Glenanny, Bruce Campbell. Personally, I think this is Bruce Campbell's probably short of Army of Darkness or Ash versus Evil Dead. This is probably his best work here. I dare say if it isn't his best work here. And I've always been grateful that Matt Nix, who created the show, gave him the role because he was rocking in this. It was a big highlight of the show. He played Sam Axe, and Sharon Gless played Michael's mother, Madeline Weston. And so basically the premise is that Michael Weston is a CIA spy, and he's doing some work down in Nigeria, and he gets as he's meeting with a warlord to not to conduct any more terrorism down there. So he goes and wires the warlord some money, and all of a sudden he gets what is called a burn notice. Now, I guess in the covert operations, spy, CIA, DIA, NSA, any one of those three-letter agencies, a burn notice means that you are just basically cut off from everything. You go basically from being an asset to becoming somebody with no background, no history, no money, no credit, no friends. You're burned. And so that's what happens to Michael Weston while he's in Nigeria. He barely escapes with his life. He gets really badly beaten up, and he manages to get out of there. And even so, he's really banged up. When he wakes up a couple of days later, somehow, some way, he has managed to get himself to Miami. And when he wakes up, we see that Fiona is there watching him sleep, and you see on his body he's been badly beaten. And she pokes him. And he's like, "Ah." Now, what's really interesting about this show too is while we're watching this, we're also getting a voiceover from Michael. He's talking to us, telling like what a spy does, what certain things he does in his craft, the people in his life. Like Fiona is an ex-lover, she also is a former member of the IRA. Bruce Campbell is a good friend of his. Sam Axe is a good friend of his. Sam is a ex Navy SEAL who's sort of gone to sea in Miami. He's just basically not doing very much with his life right now. He needs a purpose. And Sharon Gless plays Madeline Weston. That's his mom, and they don't have the best relationship. His mom is a hypochondriac, but she's also a chain smoker. So maybe the smoking might be, because she always feels like she has some sort of ailment. So what makes Burn Notice interesting is when it first came out, it was branded as a sort of like an action comedy. That's how it was marketed. It was an action comedy. And in the first episode, it sees that there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of humor in the first episode. A lot of action, so we'll talk a little bit about that as we talk about the episode that we're watching. So the first episode we pick up where Michael and Fiona are in a room, and Michael's, he's thoroughly, he's like, he's screwed. Burn notice means he has no access to anybody. No one's taking his phone calls. He calls his handler, nothing. Calls back, nothing. He tries to go to the bank to get some money, nothing. He has been totally cut off from everything. So of course that's not a good thing. So he's trying to, he needs some cash and needs some help. So he goes to a contact named Lucy. And Lucy, says, "Well, I don't know. I've heard rumors, about what's going on, but I don't have any concrete information." And she's like, if I had known you'd been coming, I probably would have locked the door, because you don't want to be associated with a burned spy. Well, she takes, well, he must have done something good for her in the past or what have you, because Lucy says, "Well, I have an idea. I have a small case for you. It's a little bit underneath us." She runs a security outfit, and it seems like this very rich man had been robbed, and the one of his staff is under suspicion for robbing him. Uh, and so the man says he's innocent. It's just him and his little boy. The caretaker of the grounds. He's like, I didn't do it. So he says, "Well, you can go ahead and talk to him and take on his case." So Michael needs the money, so he goes over there and he meets the caretaker who's been being railroaded, and yeah, uh, not so much fun. He goes in there and he goes, "Well, how much do you have?" He says, "I have $4,600." And he says, "Well, I think I can help you. I'll help you." Um, he says, "I'll need half up front," and the caretaker just gives him the whole amount of money. He says, "Here, just take it all." So Michael starts doing this, and as he takes on the case, he goes out and he spots FBI agents are spotting him. They're following him. And he does his own voiceover. He says, it's part of being the life. You can spot FBI agents. You can spot people who are following you, and he shows how to escape from an FBI agent. Wouldn't recommend how he does it, but he does get away. And then he goes to this house, to this rich man, Mr. Pines, who's played by Ray Weiss, and he says, "Yeah, I had a bunch of, I had like $20 million worth of assets taken, art, expensive art, and some jewelry and some cash and what have you." And as he's talking, Michael's watching him open his safe, and covertly, because he's a covert agent. So he manages to get he sees what kind of safe it is. It's one that's operated by a thumbprint and a combination. He's got the combination, but he's going to need the thumbprint. So as he's doing this, we meet other various players. He needs a place to stay. He finds a place rented out extremely cheap. Even in 2007, that would have been like, what? But he finds a room off this beat up little place, and but downstairs it's a drug dealer, a dealer named Sugar, and well, Michael chases away his clientele. He chases them away, and then Sugar tries to come down and get tough, and of course Michael takes care of him. And he says, it's not working out. You're gonna have to leave. And so those two will see each other a little later down the line. So we got, and of course we're introducing all the characters. So now we meet Michael's mother, Madeline, and he takes her to the doctor. We see that Michael had no relationship with his father. His father was abusive. He doesn't have a very good relationship with his brother Nate, nor his mom. His mom he's taking care of his mom pretty much all his life, and of course, she doesn't know really what he does. Only thing she knows is that all the bills get paid every month, and all of a sudden that's in danger because he doesn't have any money anymore. So he investigates. He meets some different contacts. He meets Sam. Sam tells him, "Yeah, I know somebody. He might know somebody." Um, he talks to another contact, Barry the launderer, who becomes a recurring player. He's heard rumors that someone was looking to sell art of his, that was from the heist. That leads him to another art house, a museum, a gallery, who he says, "Well, I haven't heard anything, but except for one small thing." And then he tells Michael, and Michael's, playing him, and he has to play. And the gallery owner says, "Well, but, I might not. This is what I've heard." And then Michael thanks him, and he says, "Would you like to come over and see some Roman Greco um, statues?" And of course, Michael's like, but he goes. I mean, he just goes to look at the art. That would be the nice thing to do, even though he's being hit up on. So Michael, he goes back to the man, the caretaker, and his son, and he connects with the little boy right away. Uh, Michael has no family, of course, but he connects with the caretaker's son, and when he finds out that Mr. Pine, because Mr. Pine is thinking about charging him, he's going to go to the police, and he says, "Well, I talked to the police too," and he says, "Yeah, but I think you're being set up for a scapegoat. So I'm going to have to work a little harder on this." And he does. He manages to get inside Mr. Pine's safe, get some intel, and gets out. We find that his suspicion was an inside job, and it turns out that it was. Um, and of course, Mr. Pine's not too happy, and he has his goon, to try to be a tough guy, and Sam's able to handle him pretty easy. Um, so not Sam, but Michael. Michael's able to handle him pretty easy. Uh, and of course, all this, and he's also reconnecting with Fiona, and Fiona wants to, she wants to, get back together with Michael, and it looks like maybe, but not so much. And as they come back from the restaurant, um, maybe, once again, maybe it may happen. Then we see Mr. Pine's goon, not Mr. but Sugar's goon is standing there saying that Sugar wants you to go. And Fiona takes care of business. Even though she's drunk, she's able to defeat this henchman pretty easily. And Michael says, "Well, when you have a problem, an infestation problem, this is how you should handle it." And we see him do a MacGyver. He goes to a hardware store, gets all these supplies out, and he does all these cool gadgets. Because he's a spy, he knows how to do all this stuff. And so he basically uh, um, he takes care of Sugar. He basically is able to shoot him in the knee without killing him. But comes through the other backside of the house because Sugar has music playing, so he can't hear him breaking into the back of the house. And he tells him that you're going, you're not coming back here. You better you know, and if you do come back and you do raise trouble, well, we might see each other again, but for the last time. Uh, Now things take a ramp up here as we head toward the end when Mr. Pine realizes that uh, now that the caretaker knows, and more importantly, Michael knows that he basically set up himself, he robbed himself. Um, so he's on the phone, he's threatening the little boy, and sends his henchman over there to take care of it. And Michael, he's a little desperate to get there, so he grabs a car, and yeah, he dashes over there, stopping Pine and his henchmen once and for all. And he basically tells them that, "Hey, I'm not going to say anything about your insurance. I'm not saying nothing. I had the paperwork for it, but right now I'm going to let you go through with it. But here's what I want back. I want you to pay your caretaker off handsomely with a severance, and I want a college fund for his son. So basically, he's going to get, if insurance goes through, he's getting $22 million. So he says, I'm going to let you get away with that. He doesn't care about it, but here's what I want back from you. I want you to take care of him. And he says, well, if I don't, he says, well, I have paperwork, and I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. So they make arrangements, and he has to take his henchman with him because he's bleeding all over the couch. Um, so and right before that, there's a really cute scene where Michael is with the young man, and he's crying, he's upset, and Michael talks to him, and he finds out the little boy's being bullied, and so they took his shoes. He had new shoes. They took his shoes, and they're always picking on him, and so Michael gives him basically a 25-cent tutorial on how to defend himself. So he finds out that Sam's been talking to the FBI about Michael, but Sam says they had him by the nut hair because they had his pension at risk. And Michael understands that. He says, well, that's not going to affect our friendship, because here's what I need you to do. I need you to go ahead and continue to feed the information. Just feed them the information that we want them to have, not that they want to have, but what we want them to have. And he meets the two FBI agents who are following him, and says. So at the end of the episode, Michael he meets the two FBI agents because he goes over to the school, and they're following him, and he's making sure that the little boy can take care of himself, but he's a little far away. So he asks the FBI agent so he can borrow his binoculars, and he sees that the little boy has used the techniques that Michael taught him, and has defeated his bully. So all in all, pretty much, everything gets all wrapped up neatly in a bow. He's reconnected with all the people in Miami. He's a little bit on talking level with the FBI. He's made contacts with a couple of friends. Things seem to be all right. He goes back to his loft, and as he enters, he sees that someone else has been there before him and has just covered the floor with pictures, basically telling Michael that he himself has been under surveillance, and he never spotted them. So they're damn good, real good. And they're all over the floor, and there's this booklet that says "Welcome to Miami," and that really is that's all he can go to. He cannot leave the city of Miami, otherwise he will be hunted down. He's being forced to stay there. He has no choice, otherwise he would be arrayed against too many people. So for right now, they just tell him to continue what he's doing. So the person who burn noticed him didn't just cut him completely off. There's a reason for it, but we don't have no idea. In fact, that's the whole gist of the series: is who put out the burn notice on Michael Westen, and more importantly, why did they do it? Now, like I said before, burn notice. It came out on the USA Network in 2007. It's one of the Blue Sky series they did. Action-packed, real sunny areas like the California beach. There's Miami. There's Royal Pains was in the Caribbean. It was just and the series were all action adventure, light action adventure. Like I said, when this first came out, it was advertised as an action comedy. I mean, you have Bruce Campbell there, and of course, a lot of people see Bruce Campbell for what he is. He's hilarious. He's always lighthearted in all his roles. Gabriel Anwar was really cute, and and we see we see that Michael is, very, he really likes her a lot. And he even tells us, "You're the closest thing I've ever come to as far as falling in love with somebody." The interaction between him and his mom is it is funny, and a lot of times, but we can also see that the mom is really lonely, and I think her hyperactiveness, her hypochondriac, it's just her way of trying to get her family together. Like, I'm sick, I'm sick. But they've heard it for so many times that they know that she's not really sick, and so, but it's still sort of cute, and at least in the beginning when this happens. Um, and we meet some of the players that we'll be running across to in future episodes. Now, without getting into the future, because I don't want to give the whole series away in one shot here, all I can tell you is this is a very interesting show. This is one of the most interesting shows. I know a lot of people would say Suits would be the best show that the USA put out during this period, and believe me, that show does crackle. But I got to go with Burn Notice. This was very surprising. It is not anything what it starts out to be and where it ends. It's a whole different show. By the time where you see it in the end, where Michael Westen he says, "I'm Michael Westen, I'm a spy." And to the last episode where he goes, "I used to be a spy." But boy, to get the A to Z, it's a great show. Ton of guest stars. Ton of guest stars. Like I said, Ray Weiss was in it as Mr. Pine. David Zahaas played the caretaker. Now you might remember David. He's a terrific character actor. He also is. He also was one of the stars of Dexter. He played Dexter's boss, the detective in the show. This first pilot show was very well received. Uh, um, it was very well received. Matt Nix, who created the show, won the 2008 Edgar Allan Poe Award for this episode. Um, Jeffrey Donovan is the star of the show, is Michael Westen. I mean, he's a terrific actor. Um, I know that he had done a Law and Order for a couple of years, and for some reason, of course, you never know about this. It's one of those creative differences, but he only did a couple of seasons, and then, or even one season, I think, and then he left. And I was always curious about what happened, because he's a good actor, and he's really good as far as action pieces go. Um, it was shot in Florida. It was shot on location, and very well done. Miami, you know, you see the glamour side of Miami, you see not so glamour of Miami, and yeah, it's a fun show, and well thought out. Uh, 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 the Matt Nix, who created the show, he wrote, like I said, he wrote the pilot episode. It was directed by Jason Alexander, which was he's a fine director. I think he has done a lot of television. Um, he also was a former actor, but he switched over to directing. So he has, as far as his directing goes, he's directed shows, and he also acted as executive producer to shows like Rescue Me, which was also on FX, Xenia Warrior Princess, Arliss, um, Homicide: Life from the Street, and yeah, he also he also did 32 episodes of Law and Order too. So yeah, not too bad. He also worked at Warehouse 13, um, uh, which was he actually did the pilot for Burn Notice. I just said that, plus Warehouse 13, Royal Pains, and 3 Inches. So yeah, really fine director. Really brought Burn Notice to life. All right. Um, I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys any fans of Burn Notice here, let me know. Drop me in the comments down below. If you have, I mean, I personally, like I said before, I think this is Bruce Campbell's best work, outside maybe Bubba Hotep. Um, and the first Evil Dead and the Evil Dead, Ash versus Evil Dead. But I think the longevity of it, I think this is his best work. And in fact, his character was so popular that they end up spinning it off into a TV movie, another TV movie, the Fall of Sam Axe. I think was basically telling his origin story. I don't think I have that. That came out separately. But if I do have that, I don't know if I do or not. But if I do, we'll be visiting that probably during Dollar Theater. Um, but yeah, like again, if you've seen Burn Notice, love to hear your thoughts about it. Uh, is it a show that you own, or is it a show that you've seen? Um, that's one thing about these older shows like this. Even though it was on USA Network for 7 years, they don't show it anymore, so it's all streaming. So that's a shame too. Uh, you can get the whole complete series. You can get the whole complete series from Universal or 20th Century Fox, right? So maybe Disney. Disney might have this. You could probably pick it up from Disney. Um, and enjoy. Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel and you like the BoobTube Retro Jam, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions for a show if series, toss it out there. If we have it, we'll talk about it. I don't have all the series, but I do have a lot. So just throw it out there. If I have it, we'll talk about it. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next Sunday. Peace. Yes, this will be coming out on Sundays starting at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. All right. Talk to you soon. Boy, it's hard to get in the end.